안녕하세요. Hello. Today is Thursday, the 26th of May, and I've just had my appointment with the plastic surgeon who is going to sort my mouth out, my ugly frog face. So that will be good. I'm going to have an in-person meeting with him on Monday. So that's all full steam ahead. Apart from that, I lost 1 kilo this week, which is nowhere near enough. But 2.2 pounds is on the way. Let's hope this week I haven't put any on or anything. So I have been trying. This week I wanted to talk about, again, political correctness, because that's not me, I'm not hungry, that's next door, they're making a noise. Because in the K-dramas, Netflix, I think, has gone a bit mad on the political correctness, because what's happened is, as I said, in K-dramas, they do drink a lot, and they do think it's rather hilarious to show scenes of people vomiting over somebody else. Now, Netflix blur this out. They blur the vomit out, and even when they sometimes puke out of a car window, Netflix blur the stream of vomit out. Or if they tread in a dog poo, which is, you know, considered funny, they blur the poo, the brown shoe, they blur that out. And also if somebody's about to get stabbed with a knife, ow! Pixie! They should have blurred that out. They would have blurred that out. Netflix would come along and blur that out. Even though, having said that, Pixie the other day, he did projectile vomit on me from a great height. A great big, warm, wet, meaty, being a vegetarian, it was very, very, very uncomfortable. A big, meaty vomit all over my face and hair. Now, I really do wish Netflix or anybody would have come and blurred that out for me. And it's ingrained in my memory now forever. Thank you, Pixie. Pixie the Demon cat. Are you going to bite me? Yeah, see? See? Isn't he a horrible cat? Horrible cat. Are you going to bite me? Come on then. See? Ow! Ow! Bastard. Anyway, going on about political correctness, I read an article about a Korean pop idol who was a little bit worse for wear in a nightclub, and a girl has reported him for sexual harassment. Now apparently what he did was touch her leg 2 or 3 times whilst he was a little bit worse with it, while he was trying to get up. Now ladies, that is not sexual harassment. If somebody, like, you know, presses on your leg while they're trying to get up when they're a little bit tipsy, that's not sexual harassment. Fair enough. If the lady was wearing a Korean skirt, which is pretty much little more than a bandage that just about covers the crotch area, then if the hand then slid up that skirt and hung around there for a little bit longer, then that may be considered as sexual harassment. But if he just kind of pressed on your thigh, wanting some leverage in order to lift himself up, I don't think you could call that sexual harassment. And I think in the end the lady did have to admit that it was, you know, probably unintentional behaviour, and the idol who I've been following a bit on YouTube is a sweetie. Well, you know, that's his public image anyway. He is a sweetie pie. So I find it very, very frustrating. I feel very, very sorry for gentlemen. I really do. Maybe I should do a whole vlog about to ladies, you know, to teach them how to, you know, have a bit of a sense of humour and not be so uptight about things like this. If you're in a nightclub and a guy's doing this, and or it's crowded and he brushes against your boob, and if you have big boobs like me, it's unavoidable sometimes that you know, your boob might get brushed up against or squished, and you know, just it's no big deal, ladies, you know, unless of course that same guy keeps coming back and doing the same thing, keep brushing up, or if he actually does a big squish and meant squish squish, now that could be considered sexual harassment. But otherwise, ladies, chill out, you know, don't be such a prude. You know, I think in Korea they're probably a little bit more Victorian than we are here in the West, because it seems that their parents will even say to their 39, 40-year-old children, who are often still living in the same house, who they can and cannot marry. Now, if that was me, I would say to you, Mum, to you, Dad, I'm marrying who I want, and I'm disowning you. Goodbye. And off I would go and marry that person who had bothered asking me. Now, talking about marriage and things like that, what I spotted on the K-drama translations was the word for sugar daddy in Korean. They call a sugar daddy a daddy long legs, and I find that funny and very sweet. I wouldn't mind having a daddy long legs, although my daddy long legs would have to be about 90, wouldn't he? I don't know about that. 90-year-old sugar daddy. I'm not old enough for a 90-year-old yet. Maybe next year. Anyway, apart from that, what else can I talk about? Going back to my thoughts on suicide, I do remember discussing when I was very miserable my method of suicide, because I happened across this website when I was feeling very sad about reasonable methods of suicide, and it did actually bring up some good points, because if you slit your wrists and lie in a warm bath, then can you imagine your poor family or cleaner or something coming in and finding you, and the poor person having to clean that up? So it's quite you should be quite considerate if you're going to commit suicide. Be considerate to other people, how they're going to find you. And, you know, I've even thought, then the best way was to get some helium. A couple of huge, and they even said how much you should get, big canister of helium. You shove it on your face and you fall asleep and die of lack of oxygen. Now, I went one step further, thinking, well, you know, my bed's really nice, and I think my sister would like to keep my bed afterwards, and so I would either have to put a plastic sheet down, or you know, go in a horrible chair that nobody would want, you know, sit in a horrible chair, because you know you do let go of all your bodily functions on your, you know, on your exit to the next world. And so I thought that, you know, make it easy to clean up, or wear a diaper. You could wear an adult diaper. I think that's what I might do. But I was explaining this to my friend Mark many moons ago, saying to him, you know, the method of the helium method of committing suicide, and he said, so Carol, does this mean one day we'll all be sitting here working, and I'll look out the window and I'll say, oh look, there's Carol, she's killed herself, and he'll just see me floating away into the sky. because I committed suicide by inhaling helium. I love it. I think that's rather perfect. And my other thoughts about my sister and I saying from before that we would donate our bodies to science. Now, when I was younger, I did biology, quite a lot of biology, and we went to the Wellcome Museum, and we were allowed to go to the part where the doctors go, and it's quite fascinating. I think probably today it's open to the general public because our fascination with body parts, and we're not so coddled as we used to be 20-30 years ago. And in the Wellcome Museum there were blocks of acrylic with black fingers and black toes, and even a willy that had dropped off from syphilis and things like that. And there was one particular bell jar that was all murky, and it had a sailor's head in it. It was all like this and half eaten away by fish, and that gave me the most amazing idea that maybe I could, if the doctors and nurses and whoever wants my bits and pieces, my parts, couldn't find any good use for my head and my hands, I would like to be put in a bell jar like this, in that sort of position, or something like that, and put at the entrance to the Wellcome Museum to welcome people as they come in. You know, maybe just on the desk where you go and buy your ticket, I could just be there like I'm trying to escape out of the bell jar. Just my hands, you know, you could cut my neck off, cut the head off here, and that, and just have the hands, and maybe put some kind of decoration, some sort of glass chips or something, so it looks like I'm coming out from under the sea. I think that would be very amusing, and a very good use of my, which would be by then a useless body, because to be honest, I'll be gone. I'll be in the universal consciousness, floating about, watching you. And at that point I'm going to say, Annyeong, have a lovely day, and I shall see you, or you shall see me. I won't see you, but you shall see me another time. Bye bye.